Hello everyone, Torloth here. It's time for some tea. And today's tea is brought with a side of, I don't know, frustration? I think frustration is the best way to put it. What am I frustrated about? I'm frustrated about Twitter and fellow gamers and the way they treat each other. And it's one of those where I don't understand. Like, I really don't. I think it's from 2013 on, people, I guess especially PlayStation fanboys or whatever, considered themselves justified to hate Xbox. Because Xbox is American and it's bad and whatever. I guess, I don't know. I don't know if these guys know this, but PlayStation isn't exactly Japanese anymore. Their head office is in California. They have a studio in Japan still, and some offices there. But for the most part, they're very North American. Like, their first party lineup is very North American. I don't think they even have a first party JRPG. I tried to, like, because Nintendo does. Like, they have Xenoblade. Xenoblade? Whatever you want to call it. And they get third party games like this. But that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the Sony first party developed games are very, very Western focused now. And so, to be fair, so is a lot of the first party Microsoft studios. But I think that's starting to change, and I want to see that change. But we will see. We will see. So let's talk this fanboyism, this basically cult of PlayStation that decided anything Xbox and anything positive about Xbox needs to be snuffed out, or their opinions are required everywhere. I don't like the way a lot of these people get treated. I don't like the way most things are. You know, we live in a reality that we can affect because we're talking to people. And there's people who maybe, you know, the social media person doesn't get much say of what happens on a particular game developed or whatnot. But on the flip side of that, it doesn't mean that the company doesn't aggregate tweets to see what the general consensus is about what's going on and what people are saying about their game and their game on Twitter, you know? Because Twitter is useful for just aggregating data. You can see if there's a huge amount of people who are asking for Xbox versions of games, that they're going to want it. And I'm going to point out that the tides are clearly changing. They're starting to change. The days of PlayStation dominance in the market is coming to an end. And I don't know if people are okay with hearing that. I don't want to be like, I don't want to be like, that's positive. It's clear to me that the gaming population as a whole is sort of spread out a little more. And from the console sales that I have seen posted on Twitter, the numbers of both Xboxes Series X and S and PlayStation 5 are very close. Yes, there's a huge backlog of more PlayStation 4s, but there's just as many, if not more, Xboxes right now in North America. At least. I think Europe was also very big this last month to end out the quarter. Now, what does that mean? That means, as a consumer, we can expect to see some things change. We're going to probably see a lot of games not skip Xbox, or skip Xbox less, and probably vice versa with PlayStation. The gaming marketplace, the gaming developer place has kind of differed and is always shifting with acquisitions and whatnot. One of the biggest issues a lot of people have been pointing out, and I think rightfully so, is after PlayStation bought Evo, fighting games have been kind of disappearing on Xbox, and it's been not cool. Whether I think Evo was actually worth the money or not, I don't know, but I'm still getting away from the point, is that the tide is changing. Maybe by the end of this year, we're going to see a lot more Japanese support on Xbox. I don't think it's gonna be like a light switch. It's gonna start slow, but we're already starting to see this future, right? And I honestly hope we get to see more niche titles come over, like Altair. And I really just want more of that, you know? Just more Altair, more Neptune. I'd love for them to grow a bit. Because, honestly, I know people go, oh, there's a huge PC gaming user base. And yeah, there is. I'm not going to deny that the PC gaming space is pretty good, but a lot of niche Japanese games, especially the JRPGs, they are... The PC ports are... They're not all good. I'm gonna leave it at that. They're not all good, and it is... It's just... I've had weird bugs with them, and ones that you don't have on console, so I'd rather just play them on a console. Whether that sounds bad or not, I just would prefer that. And I don't want to go back to PlayStation, because I've had issues with the console, and with Sony as a business first. The actual console's fine. I just don't like the way Sony does business and the way the media kind of covers up for them. So timed exclusivity for console games is bad unless you're Sony. And I really get tired of this narrative because Microsoft bought timed exclusivity for Rise of the Tomb Raider. And there was a huge community backlash against it. So big, in fact, like absolutely massive, that they've never done another timed exclusivity with a big publisher since. I honestly can't think of one. Smaller indie devs, yes. You know, smaller indie games, they'll help fund them, they'll get them at the door, they'll put them on Game Pass or whatever. Like the Falconeer, the Ascent. Yes, Stalker 2. I don't know what's going on with that one right now because my heart goes out to those guys. It's tough. But, you know, Stalker 2, we've got all these games from all over the world coming, and the ones that have been timed exclusive for Xbox have not been the next Final Fantasy or the next Tomb Raider or anything that big. But Sony does it with minimal to no backlash. Look, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to fanboy, but it's the way that the industry is that everyone's like, Sony's good, Microsoft's bad. That's not how this works. Competition is good, and competition will lead us to have better games, period. I, as someone who's decided this generation that Xbox is the better platform for me to play my games, what I want is just more third-party games to stop skipping. I'm not talking about first-party games. But what I am saying is that Final Fantasy, whether I like it or not, shouldn't be an exclusive to one platform. Square obviously wants their cake and eat it too, especially with Final Fantasy VII, which I don't know what's going on with that. 2 years of timed exclusivity? Square's so hit and miss with Microsoft. I don't know if it's just the Japanese stuff, or like it doesn't sell as well, but we're talking about console, which yes, doesn't have a lot of. Neither console has a super strong user base in Japan at the moment. The Switch is probably the only console that really does have a good, solid user base in Japan. The Xbox, PlayStation 5, not so much. They really like the Switch and mobile. And maybe that'll work out in Xbox favor with Game Pass for mobile because they can play high quality games streamed, and they have ridiculously good internet in Japan. My pen pal has insanely good internet that I'm kind of jealous of. She gets like 500 or 600 megabytes down, and that's on her crappy like 4-year-old phone. In her house, just like I get like 50 10. So yes, the gaming landscape is changing, and I think it's time for some of these walls to come down. We've already started to see companies like Bandai and now Atlas. Sega really came around with Yakuza. My goodness, Yakuza, Judgment, those games are fun. I really enjoyed Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I can't wait for Ichiban's next round. I really can't. It's gonna be so much fun. But what I'm not looking forward to is talking about it talk about buying it, and or wanting to talk about buying it, saying something on Twitter, and having a mob or just some vocal fanboys come to insult me. I don't like that. I don't want to fight fanboys all the time. And I feel like every time I block one, report them for being abusive, there's 3 more to take their place. It's disheartening. It you know, it makes you want to just stop. Stop using Twitter. Stop talking about stuff you like. Because all these guys want is a double. All these guys want is a win. All they want is that win. They're like, oh, I just want the W. I don't know what a win to these people is. A win to me is when everyone gets to enjoy a game. A win to me is going to be picking up my copy of Soul Hackers 2, booting it up day one, and playing it. And knowing that by supporting and, you know, hanging out with people, I'm gonna get to play this game. I'm gonna have people to talk to about it. That I won't have to do it openly and publicly. I really like all sorts of games that have come out this year. Like Elden Ring has been good. There's been a huge surge of Japanese games coming to Xbox. Some of the big ones we missed, like Nier Automata here. But fighting about it, saying that everything's been stolen from you and you just want some of that back. That's not what you want. You want Sony to have console dominance again. And one platform having console dominance leads to awful things happening industry-wide. But that's it for me this week. This one might have been a little heavy, and I might have been a little rambly. I apologize for that. Tuesday, I think I'm gonna try and clean up some Tunic stuff, beat the game, and that'll be it. But until next time, matane!